It's the place where countless millions of people have come since, wanting to do the same, to meet Mary, to pour out their troubles, their worries, and to express their gratitude and their joy for the blessings in their lives. It's a place where we come on pilgrimage to encounter the love and healing presence and the welcome of Mary, the Mother who cares for us, and of Jesus, the merciful God who loves us. It's the place where we together can encounter a place where we can meet. The 18 visits of Our Lady to Bernadette, those 18 encounters with her, were all in a sense a preparation for another encounter, another meeting, Bernadette's meeting with Christ. Her journey in faith led her to the discovery of how she was loved by God. Indeed, through the apparitions, the Virgin always presented herself to Bernadette not as an end in herself, but as the one that would assist her to gradually discover Christ. The spring of water behind us here that was discovered at the Grotto on the 9th apparition is a symbol of the whole message of Mary, which she entrusted to Bernadette. The spring, a symbol of Christ, the source of the living water for all of us who are baptized. And when the lady, as Bernadette referred to her, said to her to go and drink at the spring and wash yourself there, she gave her the invitation to go beyond her meeting with herself and to enter into a new relationship with her son Jesus. And she goes a step further. She says that it's not enough to discover the source of the living water, but we must drink the spring and wash in it. In other words, we must allow ourselves to be touched by God's word and to be nourished and transformed by the Eucharist. In the liturgy of baptism, just after the child has been baptized, the celebrant addresses the child's parents with the following words: "This light is entrusted to you to keep it burning brightly. This child of yours has been enlightened by Christ. May he or she walk always as a child of the light. May he or she keep the flame of faith alive in their heart." We all have, through baptism, been enlightened by Christ. The light of his loving presence shone down on us and ignites in that moment of baptism for the rest of our lives a flame of faith. Addressing the disciples, Jesus says, "You are the light of the world." We are called to reflect Christ's light. And this morning's gospel reminds us when Jesus says a lamp is always put on a lampstand so that people can see the light when it comes. By means of this image, Jesus is telling us that we're called to allow his light to shine through us so others can see it. A light should never be hidden. If we are to be enlightened by Christ, we're to allow that light to shine for others. In that sense, there's always a public dimension to our relationship with Christ. That relationship, while at times is very much a personal relationship, it's never private. Yesterday afternoon, we had a time of reflection and prayer with our young adults, the many young adults that are here with us. And we reflected on that gospel we have this morning. And one of the young adults said that for her, as a helper, as someone coming to help our VIPs, our assisted pilgrims, she was being called to be the light of Christ. And in many ways, she captured what this gospel is trying to offer us. Bishop Robert Barron, speaking a couple of weeks ago at the Eucharistic Congress in the United States, reminded people in a very bold way, he said, Christianity is not a private affair. It's not about you. He said, Christianity isn't a self-help program, not designed to make you feel better. Rather, it's something for the world. Our Christianity, our faith, our encounter with Christ isn't for ourselves, but for others. In and through us, others should see a Eucharistic people, a people who share their lives with others. That's what our gospel calls us to. And that's the challenge that we're offered in this wonderful place of faith, this wonderful place of renewal. To allow that light of faith to shine clearly and publicly. So wherever we find ourselves, others will see in us the light of Christ. In a sense, it can be easy to come here to a beautiful place like Lourdes, to gather with like-minded people and to pray and express our faith. But having been nourished and supported in our faith here in Lourdes, having allowed that light of faith to shine in us, we have to bring it forward from Lourdes back to our lives so that we can publicly witness. It's never just simply a private affair. And so when we come to the grotto, we come to celebrate the Eucharist, to be nourished by God's word and to be nourished by the Eucharist, so that through our witness, others can come to know and encounter Christ and his mother Mary. We bring to that meeting with Mary at the grotto our prayers and our needs. Having listened and been transformed, we can leave here with an inner joy. Not that necessarily everything that we brought will be solved, but somehow we know we're not on our own. But we're called to bring that faith alive and share it with others, that we can be signs of hope. And so going back to the words of our opening Mass, when I left you 4 words from Bernadette, I invite you just to take those words again this morning, to come like Bernadette to the grotto, but like her to listen to God's word, to trust in the message that you receive, and having trusted in that message, respond through your lives, so that we can shine the light of Christ, and that through us others can know of Christ's love for them.